Today we're talking about something that confuses a lot of men. The topic is, here's why a woman pushes you away when she wants you most. At first it sounds backwards. If she wants you, why would she distance herself? Why would she go cold? Why would she suddenly pull away? The exact moment things felt close. I've sat in my chair as a therapist and watched countless men sit across from frustrated, angry, or just heartbroken because they didn't understand this moment. And on the other side, I've had women sit across from me with tears in their eyes, admitting they wanted love, but fear had a louder voice than desire. Sometimes a woman pushes you away because caring makes her feel exposed. Getting close means she could get hurt. When a woman starts to feel something real, it threatens the wall she built to protect herself. And trust me, almost every wall comes from a story she never told, a disappointment she never admitted, a heartbreak she promised herself she would never repeat. So instead of holding the person she wants, she pulls away to regain control. It's not always logical. It's emotional. I've seen women shut down when they finally meet someone who treats them well simply because kindness feels unfamiliar. I've seen women distance themselves right after something intimate or meaningful happened because the moment felt too real. And I've watched men misinterpret that silence as rejection, when in reality she was overwhelmed with feelings she didn't know how to express. You might think she's losing interest, but what if she's just scared of how much she feels? What if pushing you away is her way of protecting something she isn't ready to lose? In this video, you're going to understand the psychology behind it, the hidden emotions she won't say out loud, and how a man should respond when a woman pushes him away, even though she wants him close. Let's begin. Fear disguised as distance 1. Fear disguised as distance. When a woman starts to feel something real, her reaction is not always warmth, closeness, or affection. Sometimes the exact moment she realizes she cares is the moment she pulls away. On the outside, it can look cold, dismissive, or uninterested, but emotionally, what you're seeing is fear wearing the mask of distance. I've watched it happen so many times in my therapy office. A man comes in confused because everything seemed to be going well. The connection was strong, communication was consistent. She laughed at his jokes. She led him into parts of her life nobody else sees. Then suddenly, without warning, the tone changes. It's not that she doesn't reply at all, but the messages get shorter. She cancels plans she used to look forward to. She becomes harder to read, and he sits there wondering what he did wrong. The truth is, very often he did nothing at all. When a woman cares, she becomes emotionally exposed. And for someone who's been hurt, betrayed, abandoned, or made to feel unworthy in the past, vulnerability is not a soft feeling. It's a risk, a real risk. Caring opens the door to disappointment, and even if you have never done anything to hurt her, her memories might be louder than your actions. So instead of leaning in, she retreats. Instead of expressing affection, she hides it. Instead of saying, "I'm scared of losing this," she acts like she doesn't need it at all. It's a defense mechanism built from experience, not logic. I've had women sit across from me and describe how intense feelings make them feel out of control. They don't push away because they want to lose the relationship, but because they want to protect themselves from getting attached to something that could disappear. Distance becomes a shield, not a goodbye. And here's the part most men don't realize. The more genuine a woman's feelings are, the stronger this reaction can be. The deeper the connection, the greater the fear of losing it. So when she backs away, it might actually mean the opposite of what it looks like. She isn't rejecting you. She's trying to stop herself from falling faster. Understanding this changes the way you interpret her silence. Instead of assuming she is gone, recognize that the distance might be fear trying to keep her safe. When a woman pushes you away at the moment she wants you most, it's not the end. It's a sign that something real is happening, and real emotions demand courage she might not be ready for yet. When comfort feels dangerous, too. When comfort feels dangerous. One of the most confusing parts of male-female dynamics is this. You can treat a woman with kindness, stability, and genuine affection, and instead of moving closer, she backs away. Many men take this personally, assuming they were too nice or that women only want what hurts them. But as someone who's spent years listening to the quiet truths women rarely say out loud, I can tell you this. Comfort can feel dangerous to someone who has lived without it. When a woman meets a man who sees her clearly, listens to her, and treats her with real care, it shakes her emotional foundation, not because she doesn't like it, but because she's not used to it. For some women, affection isn't familiar. Kindness isn't familiar. Being valued isn't familiar. So, instead of relaxing into it, she questions it. She waits for the moment it turns into disappointment, because that's what her life taught her to expect. I've listened to women explain this in very vulnerable ways. They say things like, "I started caring about him too much," or "I didn't want to depend on him," or "I was scared he would leave and it would hurt more than if I left first." To a man, this sounds strange. To her, it's survival. She's protecting herself from a future pain she believes is guaranteed. That's why comfort feels dangerous. The more she feels safe with you, the more she realizes losing you would hurt. And for someone who learned to live without attachment, safety can feel like a trap. There's another side to this too. A woman who has been let down repeatedly often builds her identity around independence. She takes pride in not needing anyone, in handling her problems alone, in having control. When a man enters her life and gives her peace she never asked for but secretly wanted, she senses herself softening. She senses herself depending. That scares her more than any argument ever could. So, she pulls back, not because she doesn't care, but because caring makes her feel like she's something to lose. Men need to understand comfort doesn't break a woman. It exposes her. And when she suddenly withdraws, she's not rejecting the man. She's wrestling with herself. She's fighting the part of her that wants to believe in love again, and the part that warns her not to trust anyone. When a woman pulls away from comfort, it's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're touching a part of her she keeps hidden. You didn't scare her by being kind. You scared her by being real. Too much emotion at once. 3. Too much emotion at once. Sometimes a woman doesn't push you away because of something you did wrong. She pushes you away because the feelings hither faster and deeper than she was prepared for. Men often underestimate how overwhelming real emotion can be for someone who isn't used to letting people in. When a woman suddenly feels a rush of connection, attraction, emotional safety, and desire for closeness, her system doesn't calmly accept it. It floods her. I've watched women describe this moment with absolute honesty. They'll sit across from me and say, "Everything was going well." Then it panicked. And that panic doesn't always look like panic. It can look like silence, sudden mood swings, unexpected distance, or even arguments that don't make sense. It's not that she wants to fight or disappear. She's trying to slow down feelings that are moving faster than her comfort. Think about it this way. When someone has lived most of their life guarded, numb, or emotionally distant, big feelings don't feel exciting. They feel unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe. Her heart wants to lean in, but her mind is trying to protect her from losing control. A man might experience this moment and think, "If she liked me, she wouldn't act this way." But the truth is, some of the women who care the most can be the hardest to read. The emotion is strong enough to create fear, and fear makes her retreat. What most men don't see is the internal battle she's fighting. One part of her wants to text you first, spend more time with you, open up and trust the connection. The other part is warning her that getting attached means giving someone the power to hurt her. This isn't about you. It's about the intensity of what she feels. And the strange part? You might be doing everything right. You're consistent, patient, respectful, affectionate. You create a space that feels safe. But if she hasn't experienced a relationship where she wasn't abandoned, controlled, or taken for granted, she may not know what to do with that level of emotion. It's like handing someone a gift they don't feel prepared to receive. So instead of letting the feelings keep growing, she hits the brakes. She talks less. She avoids deep conversations. She becomes harder to reach. And you sit there wondering how everything changed so fast. But in many cases, that shift is proof of how intense her emotions really are. She didn't pull away because the feelings disappeared. She pulled away because they were too strong to hide. When a woman pushes you away because she feels too much, it's not the end of the connection. It's the beginning of a very real emotional struggle she hopes to win, but fears she might lose. Protecting herself from rejection. One of the deepest reasons a woman pushes a man away, even when she wants him most, is the fear of being rejected. And many men don't realize how powerful that fear is until they see how someone behaves under it. I remember sitting with a client who was confused because his girlfriend suddenly withdrew after months of connection. He told me, "I don't understand. I never gave her a reason to doubt me and he was right." He didn't. But her reaction wasn't about the present. It was about the history she carried into the relationship. She had been left before, not dramatically, not with a big fight or a clear ending. Just slowly, quietly, the kind of disappearance that makes a person question if they were ever valued at all. When she started feeling real love again, her fear wasn't that she didn't want the relationship. It was that she didn't trust herself to survive losing it a second time. This is something a lot of men underestimate. You can be doing everything right. You can be loyal, consistent, loving, and patient. But if a woman has lived through rejection, abandonment, or betrayal, her heart remembers it. Her mind reminds her of it. And instead of risking that wound reopening, she pushes away first. Not because she wants to leave, but because she wants to be the one who controls the outcome. I've seen it happen in relationships that had every ingredient for success. A man finally gives her the stability she always wanted, and instead of relaxing, she tightens up. She becomes distant. She stops initiating affection. She pulls away emotionally, even physically. And he sits there thinking if she cared, she wouldn't do this. But in her mind, pushing him away hurts less than waking up one day and realizing he lost interest. Even women who seem confident, independent, or emotionally strong are not immune to this. Some of the strongest women feel rejection the deepest because they rarely allow themselves to depend on anyone. When they finally do, the vulnerability feels dangerous. Losing someone they care about would hit harder than anyone realizes. So, when she withdraws, it's not always a sign of losing love. Sometimes, it's a sign of how much she cares. She's protecting her heart, even if it means hurting herself in the process. The tragedy is that men often interpret this as disinterest, when in reality it can be the opposite. When a woman pushes you away out of fear of rejection, it's not rejection of you, it's protection of herself. She's not trying to end the relationship, she's trying to survive the possibility of losing it. Testing emotional safety 5. Testing emotional safety. When a woman starts pushing you away, to see how you'll respond, it often isn't intentional. She's not sitting there planning a game or trying to manipulate you. What she's really doing is checking whether you are emotionally safe. But here's where many men misunderstand this moment and accidentally make the situation worse. Some men respond with anger, sarcasm, silence, or emotional withdrawal of their own. They say things like, "If you're going to act like that, forget it." Or, "I'm not chasing you." Or worse, they start guilt-tripping her. And from where she stands, that reaction confirms her deepest fear. That getting close was a mistake. When she feels pushed, judged, or punished for being emotional, it teaches her that opening up comes with consequences, so she closes even further. That's the wrong response. It makes her feel unsafe, unheard, and unseen. There are also men who panic when a woman pulls back. They start texting nonstop, demanding explanations, asking what's wrong every hour, or begging for reassurance. It comes from care, but it feels like pressure. She doesn't feel understood. She feels suffocated, and instead of calming her fears, it magnifies them. What most women need in that moment is neither anger nor desperation. What they need is emotional steadiness, a calm presence, someone who isn't shaken just because she's struggling. Instead of saying, "Why are you acting like this?" or "You're pushing me away," a healthier approach is something like, "I notice you seem a little distant. I care about you, and I'm here if something is on your mind." That sentence does something powerful. It acknowledges the shift without blaming her for it. It opens the door for communication without forcing it. It shows care without chasing. Another thing that helps is reassurance without exaggeration. Not dramatic promises, not big speeches, just simple, grounded honesty. You don't have to go through things alone. "I'm not going anywhere." Or even if you need space. I respect that. "When you're ready to talk, I'm here." When a woman is testing emotional safety, she's trying to see whether you'll stay steady or fall apart, whether you can hold space for her feelings instead of reacting to them, whether you can remain kind even when she's scared. That's what makes her feel safe. Pushing a woman to explain her feelings before she's ready shuts her down. Getting angry confirms her fears. Trying to force closeness makes her run faster. But staying calm, patient, and emotionally stable gives her something she didn't expect. A reason to trust you. Because here's the truth. She doesn't push you away because she wants distance. She pushes because she wants to know if closeness will hurt her. And the way you respond in that moment is what tells her whether she can let her guard down, or whether she needs to build the wall even higher. Past wounds reacting to the present. 6. Past wounds reacting to the present. When a woman pushes you away, most men look at what's happening right now. The unanswered messages, the canceled plans, the sudden change in energy. But what you're seeing in the present is often driven by something that happened long before you ever met her. Her past doesn't just sit quietly behind her. It reacts. Even the strongest woman you know might still carry wounds from a relationship that broke her trust. Maybe she loved someone who slowly stopped caring. Or she gave someone chance after chance until she felt empty. Maybe she opened up once only to be used, lied to, judged, or replaced. Those experiences don't disappear just because someone new treats her better. They sit inside her like alarms waiting to go off. And when she starts liking you deeply, those alarms start ringing. I've watched women talk about love as if it was a fire that burned them. So when warmth returns, it doesn't feel comforting. It feels dangerous. She expects disappointment. She expects abandonment. So instead of walking forward, she stops herself. She thinks, if I don't get close, I can get hurt. It sounds logical in her mind, even though emotionally it makes her miserable. This is why some men say, I'm not him, I'm different. Yet she still hesitates. It's not about believing you. It's about believing she's safe. And that belief takes time, not words. Sometimes her reactions are subtle. She gets quieter. She stops initiating. She closes parts of herself she once opened. Other times it's louder. She becomes defensive. She picks small fights. She accuses you of things you never did. To a man, it can seem irrational. To her, it's protection. A past betrayal trains her to attack before she gets hurt again. And here's the painful part men don't always see. Pushing you away doesn't bring her relief. It brings guilt. It brings confusion. She lies in bed replaying everything in her mind, wishing she could feel normal, wishing she didn't have to protect herself from someone she actually wants. You cannot heal her past, but your presence can challenge it, not by fixing her, not by proving anything overnight, but by staying consistent, by respecting her emotions even when they don't make sense, by showing that you don't disappear when things get difficult. Patience doesn't mean accepting disrespect, but it does mean understanding that love isn't always a straight line. For someone with old wounds, closeness feels like a risk. Pushing you away doesn't mean she wants to lose you. It means she wants to survive you. And maybe the most powerful thing you can do is be the man her past never prepared her for. Steady, patient, calm, and real enough to show her that love doesn't have to hurt. Pulling away to regain control. 7. Pulling away to regain control. There's a moment in many relationships where a woman suddenly feels things getting too close, too real, too emotional, and instead of leaning in, she pulls back. Not because she wants distance, but because distance gives her something she feels she's losing. Control. When a woman starts falling for someone, she can feel the shift happening inside her. She starts thinking about you more than she expected. She starts caring about what you say, what you think, how you feel. She begins to imagine a future, not because she's planning it, but because her emotions are moving there on their own. And that can make her feel like she's losing the emotional balance she once had. A lot of women live with the belief that whoever cares less has the power. It's not fair, and it's not healthy. But many learn it through experience. The one who loves deeper is the one who can be hurt. The one who shows more emotion is the one who can be abandoned. So when she realizes how important you've become to her, she pulls back to regain control of her feelings. It's not uncommon to hear a woman say, I needed space to think. But what she really means is, I needed space to feel safe again. She wants to care, but in a way she can manage. She wants you, but she doesn't want to feel powerless in that want. This can show up in very subtle ways. Maybe she stops replying as fast. Maybe she goes from affectionate to neutral. Maybe she becomes more logical and less emotional. She's trying to rebalance a heart that suddenly feels too invested. But here's where it gets interesting. While she's pulling away, she often hopes you don't. She wants space, not abandonment. She wants time to breathe, not proof that you can live without her. It's a confusing place emotionally. She's distancing herself to feel in control, but she's hoping you stay steady. Men who don't understand this interpret her withdrawal as rejection. They get offended, cold, sarcastic, or they walk away entirely. And from her perspective, that confirms her deepest fear. That being vulnerable gives someone the opportunity to leave. What most women need in that moment is balance. Not chasing, not pressure, just calm consistency. A man who doesn't panic when she steps back. A man who doesn't attack her for needing space and doesn't disappear to protect his own pride. A man who is still there, still steady, still respectful of her pace. Because when she regains emotional control, she can love freely again. Once she feels safe in her feelings, she can move closer. And when she sees that pulling away doesn't make you punish her or replace her, something inside her relaxes. She learns that loving you doesn't mean losing herself. When a woman pulls away to regain control, she isn't rejecting you. She's learning how to love you without losing her balance. And when she feels safe doing that, she comes back even stronger than before. Conclusion. When a woman pushes you away even though she wants you, it's rarely about losing interest. Most of the time, it's fear, vulnerability, past pain, or emotions, moving faster than she can handle. What looks like distance is often self-protection. And while she may step back, she still watches how you respond. Patience, calm energy, and emotional stability matter more than chasing or arguing. When a man remains steady instead of reactive, she feels safe enough to come closer again. Real connection isn't about forcing her walls down. It's about being the kind of man she feels safe lowering them for.